Honorable Men Discord. Robbery? Let's talk about it. All right. So the results are already in. It's a draw. Lamonte Roach Jr. versus Gervonta Tank Davis. And we had a lot of people weighing in on this fight. And let me be straightforward. Did Gervonta lose? Off a technicality with him taking the knee? Yes, I'm going to say he lost. Outside of him taking a knee, do I think a draw is fitting to this fight? Absolutely. Because from what I saw, unlike what some people said, where they didn't feel like Davis was fighting the fight he normally fights, I disagree. What I saw was two fighters whose styles matched. They both have great defense. They both can throw a jab. They both can throw a punch, uppercut. They were matched up very well, and it was a slugfest. So I don't think people didn't get their money's worth. I disagree with people who acted as though they didn't get their money's worth. I think it was a definitely good fight. Do they need to run it back? Absolutely. They need to run it back sooner than later. Sooner than later, it's only fair because especially off the fact that Davis was able to save his record, so to speak, by not getting a loss on his record, but rather a draw. So just off of that, he was saved. Everyone knows he was saved. I believe Davis knows he was saved as well. And just because of that, you need to give it the rematch right away. But here's the thing. I think Davis knows all too well that he really needs to get back to the drawing board and figure something out because Roach has his number. Roach has Davis figured out, which is why if you're a fighter like Davis, you're going to be strategic and say, listen, I gotta go back and go through some things before I return to the ring with this guy. Because what he does not want to do is give him a rematch and take a loss. Because the fight was just that close. So I understand why Davis is talking about he doesn't see, because I believe he said that he doesn't see that fight taking place, the rematch, in 2025. He said probably after a year, so maybe 2026. But I don't think that's fair to the fans. I don't think that's fair to Roach. I think they should run it back this year, but that's just my opinion. I'm pretty sure he has other fights lined up already in advance. And, based on contractually, I think he has to honor those fights. Obviously, he didn't intend to lose, and he certainly didn't intend to draw. But that's what we have. That's what we have. But just to put it out there, yes, based on the fact that he took a knee, he lost. But I guess the referee was on his side, or fate was on his side, and he managed to save his record from getting a loss. So real quick, just wanted to say this. This was considered the DMV fight because it's a combination of the Washington and Baltimore, Maryland region. So Lamont Roach Jr., he has a record of 28 fights, 25 wins, 10 wins by knockout, 1 loss, and now 2 draws. So he's had a draw before, whereas Tank did not. This is Tank's record. Tank's record is 31 fights, 30 wins, 28 by knockout. So Tank has 18 more knockouts than Roach, and now he has the draw, which you have to credit. You have to credit Roach for the fact that he didn't become a victim and make that 29 knockouts. He was able to stand his ground and go 12 rounds with Gervonta Tank Davis. But, I'm going to play this clip that I queued up from Jake Paul because I have something to say about this. But take a look at this.
Man, I got He got lucky as a draw. He did a good fight though. I thought he won it, but man, he gotta just create more action. That's a sparring session as far as I'm concerned.
All right. A sparring session, I completely disagree. I don't know if anyone who saw the fight actually agrees with Jake Paul's comments about it looking like a sparring session. I saw a slugfest. The reason why he probably thinks it looks like a sparring session is because both of them were blocking well. They both were blocking the punches very well. But sparring session, no. You can tell, at least from what my eyes saw, I can see that Tank was really trying to throw those knockout blows. But again, Roach, having fought Davis twice before in the amateurs, he pretty much knew what to expect. And I'm pretty sure they watched plenty of film and video. And he was just blocking. He was blocking a lot of it. He was weaving. So, credit to Roach. But sparring, definitely not sparring because they were giving it their all. Both of them were giving it their all. I mean, I think Jake Paul needs to revisit the fight. I know he was there live, but he needs to revisit the video and see whether or not he still stands on what he said about it looked like a sparring match. I don't think it looked like a sparring match at all. Then we had some remarks on X from Terrence Bud Crawford, which is my new favorite ever since Mayweather retired. So Crawford was already saying, like, while the fight was actively going on, he said that Roach won just based off of the fact that Tank took the knee. Then I guess fall on the fight, he said they robbed that boy. It's crazy. So he feels that Roach was robbed, which many people do, which is why at the end of the fight, Tank was booed by the crowd, especially for saying something like, the grease or whatever that he had in his hair when he had his hair braided 2 days prior dripped into his eyes. Now, I don't know whether or not he was lying when he said that or using that as an excuse. Maybe he was feeling pain from the body shots he was taking from Roach. That's a possibility. But he took the knee very fast. It wasn't like it was a slow motion. He didn't go down slowly. He didn't even come up slowly. But in any event, he did take the knee. He took a full knee. The knee touched the canvas. At least that's what I believe I saw when I saw the fight. But again, Terrence Crawford said, "I never seen someone take a knee and they don't count it as a knockdown. Must have forgot the rules for tonight." But you can't blame Davis for that. Davis is not a referee. So, I mean, again, he was saved. Fate was on his side. He was saved by fate or the referee. Either way, he only has a draw on his record. Shakur Steven weighed in. If Lamont can't get a rematch, I got a big fight for him and a world title against me. That's my bro, but we definitely can make something happen. That's Shakur Stevens. Some say Shakur Stevens' fighting style is boring. I know Cameron from It Is What It Is has said that he just feels like he's just a boring fighter to watch. Not that he's not a good fighter, but he's just not entertaining. And so one of the issues, we have some other people that weighed in also. I see Sean Porter. Sean Porter agrees it should have went to Roach. Errol Spence just left it at good fight, which it was. In my opinion, it was. Frank Martin wants to fight him, which the Frank Martin Gervonta Davis fight was just a disappointment because the hype leading up to it, I actually thought he had something to show, and that fight was over before it started. I was disappointed with that fight, so I don't really know what Frank Martin's talking about wanting to fight Roach. Clarissa Shields, she had some good things to say to Roach. She recognizes his heart and talent. She said, "Congrats too. You may not have not got the W, but I've never seen a fighter hurt Tank, win rounds, and not get dropped. You're a special talent." So she acknowledges Roach for what he did. And then Tony Harrison said, "My fight of the year so far." Fight of the year? Well, the year is Well, all right, I could say fight of the year. The year's still in the beginning of the year, so let's see what else is out there. But here's the thing with the boxing world. The boxing world is suffering. It's suffering. There's only so many names that are big in the lights, and many of those names don't necessarily have entertaining fights. All right, let's just be honest. The last great fight for me was Spencer versus Crawford. That fight was amazing. That fight was amazing. That is the bar for me. Until I see a fight that reaches that bar, I'm not impressed. All right. Davis is a great fighter, which is why I can see how he managed to elude getting that loss on his record. Because at the end of the day, you know, he's one of the big names bringing in selling tickets. So not that I think that a loss would have hurt the boxing world, because at the end of the day, if anything, that would definitely make him train harder and come back with another fight, and people would have want to see whether or not he can get his belt back. But in any event, he's the biggest draw between the two, between him and Roach. Roach, I don't believe, as talented as Roach has shown that he is, I don't think Roach is gonna sell out arenas like Tank would. For whatever reason, Tank, his background outside of the ring, it just sells when you hear a story about someone who's been through the mud, and gets in trouble. I mean, listen, this is the world we live in. The more controversy, it just adds to your allure. Davis back in, I believe it was 2022. 1 second. Yes. I don't know if any of you remember this. This is from this December 27th of 2022 when Davis. One moment. This is when Davis was arrested for a domestic issue. Let's get to this.
I'm at my house. Okay, all right. I'm asking you. What's your name? Javante. Javante. What? Javante. Javante is your first name? Yeah. Okay, what's your last name? Davis.
On December 27th, 2022, the Broward County Sheriff received a desperate 911 call from a woman who expressed fear for her life. She reported being punched in the face by her live-in boyfriend during an argument. The suspect was identified as the renowned, undefeated professional boxer, Gervonta Davis.
I need help, please. Ma'am, repeat the address. I need to send units to you. I need the address. Please help me. You're gonna kill me. Ma'am, what's the address? Please.
Here you go to the press. This is not this, right? All right, you come over here. You come over here, please, and stand with him. With my partner. Yes, sir. What, any weapons on you? Huh? What is that? The charger, man. The charger. Okay. Got anything on you? Stay with him. I'm at my house. Okay. All right. I'm asking you. Gotta ask you. Who is in the car? This is my car. She took my car. Who is she to you? We'll just be right here. My child mother. Oh, okay. All right. Okay. Does she have any weapons? No. All right. Just put down your phone for now, sir. What's your name? Javante. Javante. What? Javante. She's trying to take my car, and I don't want her to take my car. She's trying to leave? Yeah, she's trying to leave. But I got a driver to be able to take her wherever she want to go. That works.
All right, so I'm not going to play that whole video. Basically, that was back in December of 2022. So, again, I mean, unfortunately, we live in a world where the more drama, the more, I guess, controversy, the more your brand or your popularity surges. That's just what it is. When you make the news especially for brown-skinned men and women, when you make the news for negativity reasons, or just ignorance, it's polarizing, and your brand, your popularity, it skyrockets because that's what makes TMZ, that's what makes, that's what makes the Shade Room and all these other platforms. It's what makes podcasts, like, unfortunately, that's material. It's material. When you're doing things by the book, or you're doing things right, there's really nothing to talk about. No one really wants to cover anything that's positive, unfortunately. That's just been the format for years. Now, do I agree with it? No. I think when someone is doing something that's right or positive, it should be highlighted just as much as when they're doing something negative. But I say all of that to say this. I personally haven't heard anything about Roach until Davis made this fight. And that's when we started to find out. That's when I started to find out things about Roach as far as their history and how they fought twice prior. But before that, I didn't know anything about Roach, which is why Tank Davis is the draw. We know more about Tank Davis inside and outside of the ring. Not too long ago, he allegedly converted to Islam. So they spoke about that. That was like a big thing. Oh, Tank Davis is, But all of this ties into what I'm about to say now. And that is, if you've been following all of this stuff, you would know that Tank Davis also recently, before this fight, made it clear that he's not interested in boxing anymore. He's just tired of it. I think it's a culmination of stuff that he hasn't disclosed to the public, and maybe the domestic issues he's had with his child's mother or girlfriend. I'm not sure if that's his child's mother or it's just a girlfriend. But in any event, he just seems to be going through a lot, and he's definitely trying to keep a lot of it private. More than not, he's trying to keep what's really bothering him, whatever issues he's going through, private. But he's just not motivated to box, and I'm not making up any excuses for him as far as the outcome of this fight, but his head is not there. And like anything else, especially in sports and combat sports, which is you and another opponent, it's not like basketball where you could kind of like hide behind the other four players on the field, or like football where you can do the same thing. You could hide behind other players to fill in where you fall short. In these one-on-one sports like tennis, golf, boxing, it's, show up or show out, or show up or go home, I should say. So his head is just not into it. But here's what Gervonta, this is a clip I took of Gervonta speaking on his feeling towards just life in general in sports, and his position in sports, or however you want to put it. Take a listen.
That 2025 you're gonna go into retirement. I want to know for you, can you describe like the emotion that came across you coming to that decision, hanging up the gloves on the sports you love?
Mainly just going through a lot, being betrayed and shit like that. Really like made me like really want to give up on like the limelight side type shit, like being like everybody chase this, like being in front of the camera, being like out. You know what I mean? They chase it. Everybody chasing our image. That's what they do. Chase our image. And I feel as though I don't want to be a part of that. I don't chase the image. As long as I have my money and be able to take care of my kids and whoever I need to take care of, then I feel as though I don't need none of this. Like,
that
All right, I just have to pause that and say this. For any of you who watched my BMF reaction video, and that was my reaction video that I did based on my video where I said, does Meech owe 50 Cent? One of the things I said at the very end of the BMF video was I was responding to the critics in the comments that said some negative things towards me. And one of the things that I had to clarify, or I felt the need to clarify, was that some people feel as though I did the video on does Meech owe 50 Cent because I'm trying to chase clout, or which that's not why I did the video. Someone actually said that they think, you know, I'm just trying to be famous, which I'm definitely not trying to be famous. I mean, unfortunately for me, doing this type of podcast, I have to put my face out there, but I really don't care to. Whether or not that seems hard to believe. And another thing that I said towards the end of that video, of the BMF reaction video, was that I gave the audience, the viewers, a truth that I believe, and that fame is overrated. And I stand by that. Fame is overrated. All right. But me saying it as a new podcaster with a channel and Tank Davis saying it's two different things. First of all, we're a different age class, right? We're separated by decades, probably 2 decades, right? But it's necessary that I made sure that I put this clip in there because you need to hear that. The whole fame thing is overrated and draining. I can only imagine what they deal with. I'll be honest with you, I don't need to be famous to understand what Tank Davis is saying. For me, just give me the money, and I just love my privacy. I don't care for cameras to be in my face. I don't want anybody calling out my name as though they know me and then feeling like I'm obligated to stop and take pictures. And I don't mean to say that to sound like an asshole, but the truth of the matter is that whole glitz, and it's overrated. And that's the mentality, and that's where Tank Davis is now with his life. And this is why, you know, he just wants to finish off these fights. He was planning on finishing off these fights, and this would have been the last year of his boxing. But now that he took the draw, he's finding himself having to go into 2026 and potentially rematch Roach, which it was not on his agenda. But that's where he is now, you know. But I'm glad I have that clip. I'm glad I actually queued that clip up, I should say, and had that for you guys to see. But this is the for those of you who haven't seen the fight, which I don't know how you were unable to see at least highlights of it because it's all over YouTube. This is the knee that Gervonta Tank Davis took that's in question. Take a look. Show it again. So I played it twice because in Tank's defense, which regardless of the fact, many will say based on the rules, taking a knee period is considered a down. Now, Tank, when he went down, it wasn't from a blow. It wasn't like he took a blow to the face or a blow to a body and then he took a knee. There was no punch thrown. He just looked. I'll play it one more time. He kind of looked away like he was looking towards the ref, and then he took the knee. He did that on his own. Let's play it one more time. Yeah, so that I would just say that in Tank's defense. But either way, if we're gonna base it on the rules, yes, he lost the fight. That would have gave Roach the edge. But even Roach said in the post press conference, he felt like he won regardless, despite the actions of Davis by taking a knee. So Roach really feels like he won the fight. But I mean, that's my take on it. Was it robbery? I'm gonna have to say yes, it was robbery. If you know, we got to call it spade a spade, and it was robbery. Roach should have won that, and if anything, it would have forced Tank to make that fight, that rematch. Well, at that point, he would have had to ask Roach for the rematch as soon as possible, and that would have been up to Roach and Roach's team. But with the draw, it allows Tank to, you know, basically delay the match. Because I'm pretty sure if Tank Davis would have received the loss for that fight, he would have pretty much been reaching out to Roach like, we need to run it back as soon as possible, you know. But that's what we have, and I don't know. I mean, it's Tank's life, you know. It's his career. He's going to finish out the year going into 2026 the way he wants to do it. Whether or not he actually decides to fight Roach, he might even get to the point where he's going to finish off the fights for this year, for 2025, and decide, you know what, I'm good with the draw. I don't even want to fight him again. Because honestly, he doesn't seem like he's motivated or he's really into it. Although I do believe they both fought a good fight. Tank really just wants to just step away from the ring. And I think there's a lot going on. I personally still don't understand how he went, at least from what I saw, his career with his coach in the I'm forgetting his coach's name. Give me 1 second. Let me get this. His main coach. Let me see, Gervonta. I don't want to butcher his name either. Calvin Ford, thank you. He went his entire career, from what I saw, with Calvin Ford being his main coach. I just thought it was odd that there was rumors that there was some type of something going on behind the scenes with him and Calvin, which is strange because he even said at one point early on in his career he saw Calvin as like a father figure. But I thought it was strange that going into this fight he decided to have someone else as the lead coach. Although Calvin was also at ringside, I just feel like there's an old saying, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I felt like, why now you use someone else and then look at this result? You use someone else on this fight and it turns out to be a draw. Whereas his fight previous to this against Frank Martin, I believe Calvin was the head of the corner. And look at the success of that. He got a knockout, which is what he normally does with all his fights. But again, this is Gervonta Tank Davis's life, and it's his life to make the decisions he wants to make. You know, I wish him the best. I wish Roach the best, and I look forward to a rematch if it happens. But that's all I have on this topic. As always, I appreciate all of you for tuning in. Like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next episode. Take care.